Welcome to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. I'm your host, Molly Watts. If you want to change your drinking habits and create a peaceful relationship with alcohol, you're in the right place. This podcast explores the strategies I use to overcome a lifetime of family alcohol abuse, more than 30 years of anxiety and worry about my own drinking, and what felt like an unbreakable daily drinking habit. Becoming an alcohol minimalist means removing excess alcohol from your life so it doesn't remove you from life. It means being able to take alcohol or leave it without feeling deprived. It means to live peacefully, being able to enjoy a glass of wine without feeling guilty and without needing to finish the bottle. With science on our side, we'll shatter your past patterns and eliminate your excuses. Changing your relationship with alcohol is possible. I'm here to help you do it. Let's start now. Well, hello and welcome or welcome back to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. With me, your host, Molly Watts, coming to you from, I'm actually coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. Not my typical Portland, Oregon. And I got to tell you, it's warm and, it's hot. It's hot and humid here in Nashville as I am recording this episode. And it's fun. It's fun to be here and enjoying a little Southern hospitality. Definitely, I've never traveled to Nashville before. And so I've enjoyed getting to explore it a little bit. I'm here and going to be doing a conference, but yeah, it's great. And it is definitely warm and muggy and humid here in Nashville. In Portland, I'm not exactly even sure what it's like today. So I've been traveling this week and on vacation the last couple of days. And, I'm often asked about how I handle my minimalist drinking when I am on vacation. And I'll tell you, I've shared that for me, I often choose to include an extra drinking day on my vacation. Sometimes I've even strung together from the end of one week to the beginning of the next, multiple days without an alcohol-free day. For instance, like I leave on vacation like I did this time on a Friday, and I come home the following Wednesday, and I count my weeks from Sunday to Saturday. So I had 4 alcohol-free days last week. I had an extra alcohol day on Thursday, which in hindsight I could have forgone, but I didn't. I still maintained low-risk limits with 2 drinks Thursday, 3 drinks Friday, and 2 drinks Saturday. And I had that third drink on Friday, but it was much longer, a much later night than I usually have. And I had water along the way, and it was a special night out. And, I was good with that decision. We were out in Nashville on Broadway Street, listening to music, doing a lot of people watching. And I'm okay with it being 3 drinks. I had a ton of fun. And I didn't really notice the same anxiety feeling that I typically get when I include that third drink. And for me, on Sunday, my week starts over again. But because I'm still on vacation, I enjoyed a local IPA yesterday on Sunday. And that means that I've not had an alcohol-free day since Wednesday. Now, it was only 1 beer yesterday, and I'm not sure on the ABV, so technically it was probably 1.3. But I definitely will be paying attention to my mood over the next few days. I've been doing a lot of extra activity, like we were talking like 15 to 18,000 steps per day, which is a great way, by the way, of helping shore up your anxiety or your mind or your chemical imbalance in your brain. It's super good for your brain to do all that walking. And I believe it helps me at least offset any low-level anxiety or depression that I get from alcohol leaving my system. So I'm going to have an alcohol-free day today, Monday, and then maybe a drink on Tuesday. I'm not sure. And then back to alcohol-free Wednesday and Thursday. And next week, I'll be back to my usual Sunday through Thursday, alcohol-free, and maybe a couple of drinks on Friday and Saturday. And that's not a struggle for me. There's no like unleashing the floodgates and suddenly I'm besieged with desire to go back to daily drinks or over drinking on the weekends. It's not a problem at all to get out of my normal routine. I can enjoy a few extra drinking days and still stick to low risk limits and go back to being mostly alcohol-free when I'm done. Did I get there overnight? No, but I am absolutely capable of it. And anybody tells you that you're not capable of doing that is just it's not true. It's not accurate. You can do that. It is a matter of learning how to prioritize.
alcohol-free days, learning how to include alcohol in your life. That's what I talk about, right? All right, on to this week's show. So last week, I shared with you 4 reasons that you're not changing your drinking. And at the heart of that episode is how important believing in your ability to change is. And it's so important to actually creating sustainable change. And we talked about how disbelief shows up, and it shows up in different ways, like not committing or not deciding that you want to become an alcohol minimalist. That was one reason. It can show up as inconsistency with making and keeping plans. It can also show up, disbelief can show up as not accepting responsibility for your drinking. So you're assigning blame on circumstances or other people or alcohol itself, but you're not accepting responsibility for you and your own drinking. And lastly, we even talked about how actually you might be making some changes and not giving yourself credit or actually being able to see the change as progress. And today we're going to dig into progress a little deeper and specifically about using the power of continuous improvement to change your drinking. Now, understanding the power of continuous improvement and getting not just comfortable with small incremental steps, but believing in the power of those small steps to fuel sustainable change, that's really what we're talking about. Being willing to be satisfied with small steps and being willing to keep going for the rest of your life. In my book, Breaking the Bottle Legacy, here's what I said about continuous improvement. It feels kind of boring. There's no overnight success, instant gratification, magic bullet, and it's never one and done. The changes you make might be so small they are barely noticeable. However, just like compound interest, they do add up over time. The philosophy of continuous improvement is also called Kaizen, and it's a philosophy rooted in the idea of making small incremental changes over time to achieve significant improvements. Kaizen originated in Japanese business culture, and it emphasizes the importance of constant reflection, adaptation, and the pursuit of excellence. This approach focuses on breaking down big goals into smaller, more manageable steps, and therefore it makes progress more achievable and sustainable, which is what we want, right? We want change that's going to last for the rest of our lives. So here are the principles of Kaizen, and I want to talk about these first because, again, they really apply to everything that I've built in terms of how I work with people and helping them change their drinking. But here's what it says about its several core principles that form the foundation of what Kaizen is. So number 1, like I just said, small incremental changes. Rather than aiming for drastic overhauls, rather than focusing on the horizon, on the big goal, Kaizen emphasizes the importance of making small, manageable changes on a daily basis, or we might say a weekly basis, right? It's small changes that we're taking small steps forward. These incremental improvements accumulate over time, and they then lead to significant progress without overwhelming us. Number 2, continuous improvement. Now, here's where it gets tricky, right? Kaizen is a lifelong journey characterized by a commitment to constant reflection and refinement. It recognizes that there is always room for improvement and encourages individuals to seek out opportunities for growth in all aspects of their life. Now, if we're looking at this specifically as it applies to our drinking, we have to remember that when we misstep, reflecting with curiosity and compassion, and then refining, right? Making a decision. How are we going to apply what we've learned to making and taking a better action right then, the next step? Number 3, mindful awareness. Kaizen is the practice of mindful awareness, which involves being fully present in the moment and, here we go, observing one's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without judgment. Did you hear that? Observing one's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without judgment. We have to get really detached from our own thinking and become curious and observational about it. This self-awareness allows us to identify areas for improvement and make conscious choices that are aligned with those long-term goals. We have to be able to separate ourselves from our thinking and from our feelings and then our actions. And that's really what the behavior map results cycle that I talk about on the podcast, what I teach, it's all about.
Just a quick break to talk with you more about Sunnyside. Did you know that Sunnyside uses science to help you reach your goals by focusing on 3 scientifically proven superpowers that you have? Number 1, the power of pre-commitment. Each week, you set an intention for the week ahead that includes a tracking goal, a drink goal, and possibly a dry day goal. Number 2, the power of conscious interference. You'll learn the habit of tracking each day as soon as you finish it, which creates a mindful pause before you start the next day. And number 3, positivity. We know that this is a big step that can be tough at times, right? And that's why Sunnyside offers coaching through SMS and email to give you support, advice, and motivation. You can check out a free 15-day trial at www.sunnyside.co/Molly. That's www.sunnyside.co/Molly.
One of the last principles of Kaizen is iterative learning. Kaizen embraces a culture of experimentation and learning from both successes and failures. And that is incredibly important. It was incredibly important for me as I worked on changing my relationship with alcohol to understand that my off-plan drinks were a part of the process. And when I chose to look at them that way and saw them as valuable learning opportunities that would inform my future actions and my future strategies, that was one of the keys to making, again, sustainable change happen. That's why these 4 fundamental pieces of Kaizen were so important in what I've created. Everything I've created, both in my personal relationship with alcohol and in all the curriculum that I've written about in my book, in my programs, Just Start, Making Peace with Alcohol, and Proof Positive, are grounded in the principles of Kaizen, of continuous improvement. And here's how they apply. Number 1, start small. If you've listened to this show for any length of time, you know that I am all about creating the doable drink plan and meeting yourself where you are. We are looking for one day to drink 1 drink less, or one day to incorporate an alcohol-free day. That's where we start, right? We set achievable goals that align with our long-term objectives. We are looking for an opportunity to build trust with ourselves, and it's a great practice to look for small, steady, and a slow pace of change. This is such a different mindset than the instant gratification world that we live in. And when we decide to take action, when we decide we're going to change, we want change to happen now. I get it. What I want you to know is that to change your brain for the rest of your life, to build new neural pathways, it takes time. It takes small steps, and it takes consistent practice, which is much easier to do if you meet yourself where you are at first and have faith that you will continuously improve and be ready to take a bigger step as you keep practicing. Number 2 in these principles of Kaizen that I've incorporated into my programs is to practice daily rituals. So I do a lot of observing, writing, and listening in my own life, and the same is true for creating sustainable change around your drinking. The doable drink plan and the off-plan plan are ways that we create daily rituals. Keeping a journal or using an app like Sunnyside to track your progress, these are ways that, again, reinforce the daily ritual. Remaining mindful and being accountable to yourself serves as an anchor for your efforts towards changing your drinking habits. Number 3, practicing mindful awareness. Again, it's really just at the core of everything that I teach. The very first module inside of step 1, my course inside of Making Peace with Alcohol, focuses on creating awareness. Now, this isn't awareness of your triggers, which seems to be such a common idea among alcohol change discussions, but I teach a framework that allows you to pay attention to the thoughts and feelings that arise during the day and allows you to see how your thoughts are driving your feelings of desire to drink. Number 4, you got to celebrate progress. You have to celebrate every small victory along the way, no matter how insignificant it may seem. Honestly, I think that's probably one of the places I help my clients the most is getting them to see that they've actually made progress and celebrating that when it doesn't feel like to them they're making progress as quickly as they want to. You have to acknowledge your progress, no matter how incremental, and use it as motivation to continue moving forward on your journey. And again, this is where having a coach, being a part of a group coaching program, even just being in the Facebook group is such a great way to help you get better about celebrating successes. Number 5, adapt and adjust. You have to remain flexible and open to adjusting your approach based on your feedback and your experiences. If a particular strategy isn't yielding the desired results, don't be afraid to try something new. Okay, Kaizen is all about continuous adaptation and refinement. You've got to remain flexible and be willing to try new things. It might mean changing your routine at night. It might be trying non-alcoholic drinks that you don't normally drink or that you think you don't like. It might mean taking an extended break from alcohol. That's possible. For some people, that's their best choice. It might mean choosing to be alcohol-free is your most peaceful relationship with alcohol, and that is something that you should remain flexible and open to. The only thing you need to decide right now isn't how you're going to do it or what it's going to look like. Have a goal for sure, but really decide right now that you're going to keep going until you've got this figured out. I recommend personally starting with working towards low risk limits. And then if that doesn't feel like that is peaceful for you, then you can decide or think about going to being completely alcohol free. Number 6, seek support. Get a coach, join a group, surround yourself with a supportive network of friends, family, or professionals who can provide encouragement, accountability, and guidance on your journey. This is where being a part of group coaching programs, being a part of a Facebook group, all of that helps in terms of just shoring you up, right? It may be that in your personal life, you don't have somebody that you feel like is going to help you or support you in this process. And that's where joining the Facebook group, being a part of one of my group coaching programs or working with me one-on-one would really help you. And you can lean on that group or lean on me for the support that you need. Number 7, practice self-compassion. This is the last one of these principles of Kaizen that are all wrapped up in everything that I talk about. And really, self-compassion is all about the off-plan plan. The off-plan plan is the tool that I use to teach you compassion and curiosity. You have to be kind to yourself throughout the process of changing your drinking habits. You have to accept that setbacks are a natural part of the process and treat yourself with understanding and forgiveness, because I'll guarantee you, if you are beating yourself up, if you are living in a shame cycle, you are not going to want to keep going. You are not going to keep taking action. You have got to commit to and cultivate self-compassion as you navigate the ups and downs of your lifelong commitment to change. Now, this is really how, like I said, using the power of continuous improvement is how you can work on changing your drinking. It's how I've used and incorporate Kaizen and the power of continuous improvement into creating this peaceful relationship with alcohol that I have. And I hope that through these small incremental changes, through mindful awareness, through continuous improvement, and a commitment to self-compassion, you can see that anyone, not just me, anyone can create a peaceful relationship with alcohol for the rest of your life. Hey, did you know that you can leave me a voice message? That's right. If you want to ask me a question, if you'd like to set up a call, you can simply go to www.mollywatts.com, and right there on the homepage, it says send voicemail. It goes right to me. No one else will be hearing it, and I can send you an audio reply. So if you would like to send me a message, if you'd like to ask me a question, if you'd like to jump on a call, you can leave me a message there. You can always email me too, molly@mollywatts.com. Happy to answer. But I just realized that I don't talk about it very much on the podcast. And you can go and leave me a voicemail, and I would love to hear from you. If you are thinking that summer would be a great time for you to work on your drinking habits, I want to let you know that I have room for about 2, maybe 3 women to work with in my one-on-one program. And that is my high touch 12-week program. And if you'd like to discuss what that looks like or how I work with people in 3 ways. And again, send me an email, send me a voicemail. Let's set up a call and we'll talk about your specific situation. All right, that is all I have from you from muggy, warm Nashville, Tennessee. Have a great week, everybody, and I will see you next time. Until next time, choose peace.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Alcohol Minimalist Podcast. Take something you learned from this week's episode and put it into action. Changing your drinking habits and creating a peaceful relationship with alcohol is 100% possible. You can stop worrying, stop feeling guilty about overdrinking, and become someone who desires alcohol less. I work with people in 3 ways. You can learn about them over at www.mollywatts.com/workwithme. Or better yet, reach out to me directly. It's molly@mollywatts.com. We'll jump on a call and discuss what's best for you. This podcast is really just the beginning of our conversation. Let's keep it going.